Real estate is a noisy game. Thousands and thousands of agents are posting the same type of content online. Just listed, just sold, open house. Well, Mario's not the average real estate agent. He's niched himself down as a probate specialist in the Las Vegas market. And his question today is really simple. How do I build and sustain a profitable social media strategy that actually generates leads? Now, what's really interesting is we're going to break down a strategy in our agency and in our inner circle called the ATM strategy. And the ATM strategy stands for attention, time, and money. Now, the unique perspective that I have in Mario's case is that I spent 17 years as a real estate licensee and also co-owned a mortgage company. For those that are new here, my name is Darrell Evans. Welcome to MindShift. And I love this question. And I love the framing of it because Mario is a good friend of mine and he has been doing a phenomenal job in marketing his business. But like many of you, things are changing. Organic content's changing, social media is changing, ads are changing. Everything's getting a little harder out there. Everything's a little hard out there in the internet streets, as I like to say. And the reason for that is very, very simple. And that is many buyers today, and this is a buyer change in consumer behavior that we're facing. And that is that many buyers today are so inundated with sales messages and sales calls. And it's not like it's the first time in history this has happened. But today we now have this tool called ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or whatever your flavor is. Maybe it's Copilot. And we are noticing on the back of our agency where we have helped clients generate well over $300 million in revenue with our 6-pillar framework, which, by the way, you can get a copy of anytime you want down below. Even the way we approach our framework has changed since 2011. So let's dive into Mario's question today. You know, I did spend some time in this industry, as I mentioned, and I think about if I jumped in the industry today and then I decided to niche down where Mario is, what would I be thinking about? And Mario, I wish I had a secret sauce for what I'm about to say. I'm probably not going to say anything you haven't heard, but maybe you'll pick up one or two things. And if you're in the real estate industry or if you're in an industry even similar, maybe this will resonate for you. The biggest thing about being a probate specialist in my mind is that probate is an emergency or an unplanned circumstance in someone's life or in a person's life. So this is unlike traditional listings where someone is planning on moving to Chicago from Las Vegas because they got a job transfer, or they are moving up from their current home to a move-up property. Probate is a situation that happens when someone has passed away without a will, and this process called probate, which you're an expert at, I'm not going to try to get into the specificities here, but the challenge is no one knows when they're going to need you. And so the challenge you almost have, Mario, in my mind, is you've got to treat the probate side of the business as just a function of the business or a niche of the business, which I know you do. But I would still think about the ATM formula, which is how are you going to get attention from perfect prospects in your market, even if you don't know that they're going to have a probate scenario. And so when we think about the attention, the A, how do we do that? Well, in our model, we do what we call a $1 a day ad strategy, where we teach all of our clients with no less than $1 a day. We don't recommend that you start with $1 a day, but it literally can be pulled off with $1 a day, where you take some very helpful videos, tutorials, answering frequently asked questions, using B-roll videos. There are lots of ways to create a video. And the video, which I know you've done, Mario, by the way, is taking those videos and not just relying on the algorithm to push out your expertise because you're an expert. We push your expertise out with these $1 a day videos, and specifically on Meta platforms, Facebook and Instagram. What are we doing? Well, we're not just talking about a need in probate. We are actually in the attention gathering business of those people who could be your ideal prospect, whether they do or don't need probate. In that moment, especially if you're looking for listings, then your job, as you always know, is to find those people who are likely to be selling their home anyway, with or without probate, okay? There's also a way to perhaps go a little deeper than that, but I don't want to go into trying to find specifically the target audience who might be maybe near their end of life, where you might suspect perhaps that they might have a probate issue, because the reality is probate's never handled by the person that passes. It's handled by the family member of the person that passes. So it gets a little complicated trying to just draw attention to just a probate prospect. Having said that, the A in our model is to make sure that you're marketing to the right person at the right time and getting in front of those people before they have a need. The T, more specifically, this is super important because what we know when we can't control the algorithm as to whether or not they're going to push our content, whether or not they're going to push our reels or our videos or our posts, what we can do is we can measure how many people are watching our videos from our ads. In our $1-a-day ad strategy, we have certain metrics. When we put a video into an ad campaign, we want to see if that video will get watched we will get a through play, which is 15 seconds or longer. We want to see if at least 15% of the people will watch at least 15 seconds of the video. But our North Star metric, especially for a video that's 45 seconds, 60 seconds, 90 seconds, which is what we recommend, is can we get someone to watch 100% of the video for less than 50 cents? And let's think about why that's important. We took a video off our phone with your expertise about probate or about listings or about anything else that's going on. What we don't want to recommend is you do these videos to just listed, just solds, and open houses, but we will talk about your expertise in these videos, and you're going to push this message out to people that only would pay attention if they were interested. And that's the key. That's the tweak that we use in our ads. You will only say in the ad or only say in the video what only your perfect prospect would actually respond to. And if we can get them to watch that video in full, which again, we recommend 45 seconds to 90-second videos, we're looking for, can we get someone to watch that video who didn't know who you were for 100% completion for under 50 cents? What happens now is you're now able to retarget that audience against that message further down your funnel into what we're going to talk about in the next step, which is the M phase, which is ATM, attention, time, and money. Before we can get to the money, we have to generate a lead, which is the reason for your question, which we're going to get to next. What people don't really understand about what I just mentioned, though, is when you're doing these videos properly, you are going to get people sharing your videos, liking on your videos, commenting on your videos, saving your videos, and sharing them with other people that they know. And let's be clear about something. You were running an advertisement. Like, where in the history of the world have you thought about running an ad where people are going to actually like, comment, share, save it, send it to friends in the DMs, and it's your ad? Because here's the thing that you know, is that in your business, people always are going to know someone who might need you before they actually do. And so I built my career on this idea that if I just provide value in advance and get them into my world and treat them like a customer, even if they weren't, then I build up that goodwill with those people, and they will likely refer me to other people who might need the service, even though that they don't. Okay, so attention, time, how do we get to the money, right? The money obviously is a variable component to this equation, but how do we generate leads? Well, the simple way is what in our framework, we call it leads from scratch, and it's just a simple lead generation ad on Facebook. It's a simple lead generation ad on Instagram. You can do it one of two ways. You can either use the instant form component inside of Meta, which is far better than it ever used to be, because you can actually describe on the form what a good lead is and what a not so good lead is. And you can determine what those variables are, or we can work together and help you figure out what those variables are. But lead forms, instant forms, have taken a bad rap over the years because they were low quality leads, even though they were super duper cheap. Well, I don't want super duper cheap leads. I want high quality leads, and I know you probably do as well. Well, today, lead forms, instant forms, are much more capable of finding your perfect prospect when you use the conditional logic feature inside of instant forms. The other way is through your traditional landing page, which we always still recommend. And through that landing page, what are you going to do? You're going to offer something of value. And again, I know that in the real estate industry, it gets pretty similar, right? Everybody's doing the same thing. Check out your home, get your home value, or do a comparable price analysis on your house. That stuff is played out, and you know it, they know it, everybody else knows it. So you definitely want to come up with something else. Maybe you are getting them to opt into your monthly newsletter, your market report. Maybe you're getting them to do something that's a little bit more niche to the area of interest. One other way that I think people misunderstand is not doing marketing directly in their niche, but doing something tangential with an industry professional in your niche. Maybe it's starting a podcast. I'm not suggesting that you do, but you've got to maybe think outside the box to cut through the noise, because thousands and thousands of agents are all saying the same thing. So you got to find a way to get in front of folks. I will share one last tip on, how you can approach this and think about it. And a lot of people give me pushback, but that is share a little bit more in your business marketing about your personal life. And here's why I think it's important. Because people buy from who they know, like, and trust. Like the old adage has always said, and most people agree with it. The problem is most real estate agents across my entire life have only talked about real estate on their social media. They keep posting about real estate. They keep posting about listings. They keep posting about walkthroughs. They keep posting about this closings. And I get it, but that can't be 100% of the strategy. What I would recommend is that's 20 or 30% of your content that you're posting. What about your hobbies? What about your vacations? What about you just showing lifestyle? Because at the end of the day, you're going to spend a lot of time with your buyers and your sellers. And I believe if they knew that you love to play golf, I'm not sure that you do, but if you love to play golf, post more about golf. Make a post about golf that's tied to real estate. I'm a foodie. I post food all over my Instagram, not because I just want people to know what I was eating, but if they know I'm in marketing and they happen to like food, they might want to follow me for my food posts. I play golf. Maybe I take a picture from the golf course and I post that. What I'm doing is giving people a bigger picture of me outside of my industry. Now, I'm not posting all of these things in all scenarios, and I certainly don't post everywhere I go. But what we're saying is try to find other ways for people to get to know, like, and trust you outside of the fact that you're in real estate. Listen, there's no right or wrong. And Mario, you've gotten some great training. We've been friends for a long, long time. I know you work with one of the best in the industry. I hope these ideas help a little bit, because social media today and generating leads on a consistent basis doesn't have to be hard. It can be very, very simple to do one thing a month, put it on a $1 a day campaign, and let it just run when you've got a proper lead magnet sitting in front of it. And that way you start building your email list. And it's the first thing that I did when I was in the mortgage industry back in 2003 was start building an email list. So maybe the question I have for you, Mario, since you provided a question for me, is how many people are hearing from you via your email list every single month? And for those that are listening right now, hear me and hear me clearly. Your email list is still the number one asset you'll ever own in digital marketing. It's not the number of followers on your Instagram. It's not the number of followers on your TikTok. It's not the number of followers who are watching and looking at your posts. It's how many people are on your email list so that they are hearing from you whenever you want. Because with all of the changes going on with social media, with all the changes going on with Google, the only thing you can control is when you have an opportunity to reach them. And I know a lot of you guys do text messaging. That's fine. But email is an important component in our 6-step framework. It's actually step 4. It's an extremely valuable asset to this day, and I started doing it in 2003. So that would be my advice to you, Mario. I really appreciate the question. Those of you that are not inside the MindShift community, I would encourage you to be a part of our community, but more importantly, download our growth framework. None of what I've said comes without coming out of this framework. This framework has helped us generate well over 9 figures for companies since 2011, and it's available down beneath this video. Mario, my friend, thank you for submitting the question. And if those of you who want to be a part of our community, you could also submit a question and get some strategic ideas from me on a future episode. I'll see you next time.